Hi, I'm David Piercy, and welcome to video 2 on my Tribute to Jimi Hendrix YouTube channel. Now today I want to talk about Billy Cox. And I've known Billy Cox for going on 35 years now, and I'm going to try and give you the Reader's Digest version of our story because I don't want this video to go on too long. But he's a fascinating guy, and my friendship with him has been, one of the great joys of doing what I do, collecting and researching Jimi Hendrix. So, in short, in 1982, a music writer at the Nashville paper did a story on me, a one-page story on me and my collection. And somebody called me and said, "Do you know Billy Cox?" I said, "No, I've been trying to find him for years." And they told me where I could find him, so I went and sought him out. And I met him, and I was so excited to meet him because he looked like the guy in the pictures, and I said, I came on too strong. Freaked him out a little bit, and I said, "Wow, have you got any pictures? You got any tapes?" And he was nice. He was nice enough. He talked to me, and he signed a photograph for me. But when I went back to see him again, he was gone. So I thought, I have blown this chance. I've lost that opportunity forever. I'll never find him again. So, it's funny the way things come around. It was about 3 years later. I was at work, and everybody that knows me knows about this, knows about my Hendrix collection, what a fan I am. And this black guy I work with, Larry, said, "Man, a guy I go fishing with used to be in a band with Jimi Hendrix." I said, "Larry, you don't know how many times I hear things like that from guys in Nashville." He goes, "No, man, really?" I said, "Well, what's his name?" He said, "Billy Cox." So I was like, I grabbed him by the lapels and said, "You got to tell this guy I'm okay, man." I even brought a picture. I said, "Is this the guy?" He said, "Yeah." So he got me Billy's phone number. I called him back, and of course, he remembered me, and I apologized for the way I'd come on so strong. And I said, "Look, let's get together." I said, "I don't want anything from you. Let me give you some stuff." So at the time, he still played music. He had a little combo, and he had other jobs around Nashville, but he had no idea of the this kind of underground, you might call it a subculture of big Jimi Hendrix fans around the world. So I gave him a lot of the collector video and bootleg tapes and stuff that were out there in collector circles, and a stack of photos and stuff, and it really kind of opened his eyes. Now, from that initial contact, he came to the house for the first time and saw the Jimi room. And that was huge for me, to have somebody like him here reviewing all these things. I showed him videos he'd never seen, photographs, and we would sit on many occasions or on the phone and talk, and he would tell me stories that, I felt so privileged to hear. And for the longest time, well, for a little while, I had him all to myself as a collector, as a fan, as a historian. And one of the absolute coolest things that we did together was we took a trip that summer to Clarksville, Tennessee, and went up to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, to the base, the home of the 101st Airborne. And that was well before 9/11, so back then you could get on the base just by signing on. And we drove through the base. He showed me the barracks, and we went past Service Club number 1. And he pointed to it, and I wish I had taken a picture. He said, "That is the awning that I ducked under to get out of the rain and heard that guitar playing inside for the first time, and went in and introduced myself to Jimi." So that was just a milestone for me to be there with him, reliving those old memories. But I soon had to give him back to the world, and that is when the whole thing started to pick up some steam, and the music started to happen again. So in the summer, this was in 1985, in the summer there I was part of a Hendrix tribute at a local night spot in Nashville called the Cannery. and I rented and set up a huge screen and put together about an hour of collector video. And we were going to show it to the crowd, and there would be some live music, and I asked Billy if he would come down and just so I could introduce him to the crowd. He said, well, I don't have to play, do I? I said, no, man, just come down, let me introduce you to the crowd. You know, I can use that in some of the ads for the show. So when he walks in the door that day, he's got his bass, he's got a guitar player, and he's got Freddie Edwards, who was in the Charlie Daniels band at the same time Billy was. So I said, I didn't think you were going to play. And he said, couldn't let you down, Dave, in that deep bluesman voice of his. And he got up and played. We played the 1 hour of video, and it was a great night. It was a great night. And from that night, he just kind of got re-energized. He put together what we would just call the Billy Cox Band, and he played a venue in Nashville, which is gone now, sadly. It was called the Boardwalk Cafe. And it was just a little dinner club, and they would have a lot of local bands would play there, but they also once in a while would have a big name there. Jeff Beck played there behind Jimmy Hall. Jazz great drummer Billy Cobham played there with a little combo, and Billy played there one night with his band. We got a nice reception there. This was in December, I think, of 1985. He asked me to MC the show, which I did. I've got a couple of photos from the show. And from that, you know, he just was re-energized into wanting to make music again. So it was right around that time that my friend Noe Gold, who was the editor of Guitar World magazine, and I had done some work for them. There are two really great Jimi Hendrix issues, one from 1985 and one from 1988. And those are very highly collectible, and grab a copy if you can ever find one, because they're really full of great photos and information. But Noe called me and said, you know, I bet Stevie Ray Vaughn would like to meet Billy Cox. I said, well, how can we make that happen? He said, well, let me give you his manager's phone number in Austin, Texas. Call him up, tell him who you are and what you have to offer, and see what they say. So of course I ran the idea through Billy. And Billy said, well, yeah. I explained to him, because he really didn't know who Stevie Ray Vaughn was at the time. And Stevie was still emerging. And he said, well, yeah, let's do it. So I called Stevie's manager's office and ran down who I am, what I do, and said if Stevie Ray Vaughn, who was a huge Jimi Hendrix fan, he made no bones about that, said if he'd like to meet Stevie, then give me a call. I'll set it up. So it was just a few days later that Stevie's rep called and said Stevie was going to, this was in December of '85, he said Stevie's going to be at the Opry House, Grand Ole Opry House in Nashville, January 28th. So have Billy down there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for a sound check. So I said, great. So I had a good friend fly in from New York, just who knew Stevie, and we made plans to go. So I picked Billy up. We went to the Opry House, Billy and his wife Brenda, and we went in the backstage area there. And when we got there, you could already hear Stevie and the guys warming up on stage. So I took Billy out onto the stage, and there was Stevie and Tommy Shannon and Chris Layton, and I introduced them. And Billy said to Stevie, stuck out his hand and said, I'd really like to thank you for helping carry on Jimmy's music. And Stevie paled, you know. He just kind of looked down at the floor and shuffled his feet and said, thank you, man, I just do the best I can, you know. So that was that. You know, we went and repaired back to the artist hospitality area while they continued to warm up. And while we were sitting there, Billy said, I think he just wanted to meet me. I don't think he really wanted to play anything. And then all of a sudden I hear these voices coming down the hallway from person to person like a fire brigade, you know. Billy, 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 Billy. And finally the door opens up, and And he says, Billy, come on out here. So Billy went out. Stevie said, you want to try something? Tommy Shannon handed Billy his bass. I think it was a 62 Fender bass, the same bass that incidentally Jimi Hendrix had played at the Scene Club jamming with Johnny Winter back in 1968. So I ran around and sat on the front row of the empty Opry House and watched Billy Cox and Stevie Ray Vaughn rip through Come On Let the Good Times Roll and Voodoo Child's Slight Return. Unbelievable, unbelievable. So that night, Stevie brought him out, said, y'all know Mr. Bass, and introduced him to the crowd, and they just tore the place apart. And got a huge ovation, and I got a bunch of great pictures from the show. The website, by the way, JimiHendrixOnline.com, and in the Rock and Roll Heroes section, there is a link about that. It says Stevie Ray Vaughn. There's pictures from the rehearsal and pictures from the show. I'll insert some of them here. And after the jam was over with, Billy came off stage, gave me a big bear hug, and I couldn't have been prouder, couldn't have been happier. So it just kind of evolved from Billy, for Billy from there. You know, he has continued to play music. He does the the yearly shows with the Experience Hendrix Tour, which is a cavalcade of top guitar players featuring Billy and Chris Layton as the rhythm section, traveling around the country doing Hendrix music for the people, because it's timeless and it will remain so. But that is the capsule of my friendship with Billy Cox. You know, as some of you know, after Jimmy died, Billy was in the Charlie Daniels Band for a little while. I got a great picture of them sitting by the bus. And Billy and Charlie were both inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame a few years back in Nashville, and his acceptance speech is also on the website on the Billy Cox page. And he continues to record. He's got a great blues CD out now, and he loves to ride his Harley Davidson. So if he comes, if the Experience Hendrix Tour comes near you, be sure and go, because it will be well worth your time. If you're a Hendrix fan, something not to be missed. So that's it, video 2 on the Tribute to Jimi Hendrix YouTube channel. I'm David Piercy. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.